Hello there, welcome back to the latest episode of my vlog. Today's topic is a bit of a sensitive one for myself because I'm sort of involved in this both professionally and personally. I am Eastern European and I am an actor. So straight off the bat I should probably declare that yeah, I do have a bias in this. I do have a horse in the race. And I'm very aware that when you're that much involved in something, your ego kicks in. And there's a chance, I mean, you know, our egos, they prefer simple solutions and simple answers to complex problems. So I'm quite aware of that, and I'm trying my best. I'm trying my absolute best to be fair to all parties involved, trying to highlight all the different issues and things going on at the same time. So if I fail in that, if, you know, my feelings get the better of me or my intuition lets me down, I apologize and I am open to criticism and feedback, but I'm going to try my absolute best to present the situation as realistically as I can. That said, where are all the Eastern Europeans, bro? The reason I'm asking this is because I've done some research. I've looked up the the Office of National Statistics, ONS, and they've put the number of Eastern European immigrants in the United Kingdom at 2.2 million estimate in 2019. Out of those 2.2 million, not a lot have made it into British TV, theatre and film. I don't know a lot about theatre, but TV and film, I can guarantee it. Things seem to be a bit better in the US. Like, I actually know people that I can name off the top of my head. There's Sebastian Stan, who's from Romania originally. There is Nina Dobrev. There is Mila Kunis, right? However, the fascinating thing there is that they, while they were born or they have heritage of an Eastern European origin, they were raised in the US mostly. So that means that they are slightly seen as, well, they're perceived as locals or they're part of the culture a bit more than as if someone, who's already a fully formed person rocks up at, 18, 19 years old and tries to build a career in the country. Now, in the UK, I am aware of Alex Securianu, who is Romanian, who's actually doing quite well for himself. Good on him. Keep it up. And there's this one bloke that I looked up and I saw him working on The Last Kingdom. Other than that, can't really name any Eastern European stars in the UK. Now, before I get into why that could be and a bunch of different reasons, there's a couple of things I feel like I should probably sort of declare and settle in the very beginning of this. I've got notes because I've got so many thoughts and there's so many issues involved that I didn't want to just ramble on and get lost in my thoughts and then just keep talking at you for no reason. So here we are. One of the first things that I wanted to sort of settle was that while it is called show business, it is actually the attention business. We make money out of your attention. That's it. We do that either by ticket sales, we do that by ad revenue, sponsors, the lot. But at the end of the day, we take your attention and we turn that into money by giving you something in return. That's it. Now, the reason why that is important is because as actors, we're trained to focus on our work ethic, which is good, on our talent, which is good. Not a lot of mention on our ability to, one, get an audience, two, retain it. And once I started looking around, I realized that that is just as important as all the other stuff, and sometimes it can help you get a foot into the door. For instance, I've got two cases for this. Harry Styles and Camila Cabello. Kind of interesting because they parallel each other. They both were singers on a talent show where they didn't qualify. Well, they qualified, but they never got far enough. Were brought back as part of a group, after which then they both became the breakout stars of. Controversial, I know, I'm not about to wade into the whole One Direction territory, but I think we can agree that Harry Styles is the breakout star of his group, Camila Cabello is the breakout star of her group. And then they both landed acting, well, Camila Cabello has a leading role in Cinderella. Harry Styles played in Dunkirk, directed by Christopher Nolan. right? Now, I'm not saying that they were not good in those films. I'm not saying that they didn't audition, things like that. All I'm saying is that it's more likely that someone went, what if Harry Styles can act? As opposed to someone going, I know exactly who can play this part, Harry Styles or Camila Cabello. Do you know what I mean? Like, come on, it's a business. Let's be honest about this. That's one of the things, is attention. And that's very important if we're going to understand the whole situation. Secondly, in this business, it's quite fascinating because it's known to be very progressive, liberal, woke, and people argue about this. Is it too woke? It's not woke enough. Back and forth, yada, yada, yada. But at the same time, sometimes it is frustratingly conservative. And I don't mean that in the political sense. I mean that as in it sort of leans towards stability. It leans towards maintaining a certain status quo. And it's understandable because, hang on. I'm back. Sorry about that. Turns out my landlord was expecting friends and a dog. So, great distraction and a lot of fun. But let's get back into it. As I was saying, that is actually understandable because, well, one, once you have a working relationship with someone and you enjoy working with them, you're more likely to bring them back. Two, once money gets into the equation, you definitely gonna lean towards stability. You will want to work with people that can deliver the goods that you want and can potentially guarantee a return on your investment. It's simple as that. The third thing I wanted to mention before we get into the nitty-gritty of it is that there's obviously different levels to this industry, which is it's a no-brainer, but with those different levels come different levels of expectation. By which I mean, when you're Andrew Garfield, you got a year to learn how to sing, to learn how to play the piano so you can be the lead actor in Tick, Tick, Boom. When you're Billy No Name, you better know how to play the piano masterfully on day one. Nobody has time for you to figure out your scales. Nobody has time for you to get into shape. Nobody has time for you to learn something else. You either have the goods or you don't. I learned that on my own skin. I lost out on a part because I didn't have a driver's license. Just what it is. But these processes all play into, I think, all play into the reasons why Eastern Europeans don't feature in British TV and film in a variety of ways. And I'm about to get into that. Now, one of the reasons that we could say that you don't see that many Eastern European actors is xenophobia. It's an obvious one. I have to mention it. I don't think it plays as big of a part as maybe some people think. I don't believe so. It hasn't been my experience. Could be wrong. People are very welcome to shout at me. I haven't been told, you're not getting a gig because you're Eastern European. That hasn't happened to me yet. But it probably happens from time to time. So, I'm going to mention it. The opposite sort of side of this one is a lot of people will say, yeah, well, one of the reasons, Sylas, you won't see Eastern European actors is because, well, once immigrants come to another country, they're maybe less likely to want to go into the arts. Maybe they come from countries where the arts are not seen as a viable career option. And, again, will there be cases when people talk themselves out of careers because they're not used to it, because it's foreign to them? Variety of reasons? Yes, there will be. Again, I don't think it's as much as some people think it is, because I know a bunch of immigrants that are actors, artists of all sorts, trying to make a living, right? And again, statistically speaking, if we're gonna go with the 2.2 million Eastern Europeans, give or take, there's got to be some, realistically, that are here for the arts, okay? Another reason that you could say is because what if, they're trained in Eastern Europe, of the many countries that make up Eastern Europe, and they were trained in a different acting style. And, that jars with the style of acting, the style of the industry in the UK. Again, that is a valid point. There will be cases, probably. But at the same time, the granddaddy of modern acting is Konstantin Stanislavski, who's a Russian dude. What do you think Eastern Europeans studied during communism and after communism as actors, if not a Russian dude? We're not that different. The fundamentals are more or less the same, right? And the end goal is the same as well, telling realistic stories under imaginary circumstances. Or the classic Stanislavski statement is living truthfully under imaginary circumstances. However, this brings up a different side of this conversation, which I was intrigued by, which is, what if one of the reasons you don't see as many East European actors is not that they train differently, is that a nation that prides itself on the quality of its actors, on the quality of its acting institutions, what if it's just slightly more flippant when it comes to people from a different background, different training? I mean, I've been told many a times that the UK actors are seen as some of the top actors in the world. So what if there's just that little bias towards the already established institutions of the industry? And I think that's a realistic point to make. Many working class actors say the same thing. You know, we are here, we're just as good, but we're not being seen because we're not going to the top schools. You can make many of arguments, but I think that's a valid point to consider, is that there is a chance, a realistic chance, that someone will sort of disregard people that have not gone through the same, not gone through the same sort of ladder. It's one of those unfortunate things that we have to consider. Another aspect of this is cliquiness. The industry is a bit cliquey. There's, little groups. There's casting directors that go to certain drama schools that they've been invited to, and then, they have a banter back and forth there, so they return there, they see their actors more often than they would see other people. You've got casting directors with actors, casting directors with agents, bit of banter, bit of back and forth. Role comes up, they're fresh in their mind. Let me see what's going on. All that happens. The classic is obviously directors that work with the same actors over and over and over again. We've seen that happen frequently as well. And then obviously finally we got the producers and directors. Again, if you have a good relationship with someone, money's involved, you're more likely to bring them back because you trust them, because you've seen their work ethic, you've seen them deliver, and so on. The thing is, this is our normal. This is our somewhat natural. The problem with that is that when you sort of combine it, when you combine the cliquiness with the industry sort of leaning towards stability, then you get this weird situation where the people that sort of make it into a clique are noticed by another clique, then are noticed by another clique. So now studios are picking people up, working with people that they've seen work with other people before. And there's not an endless amount of well-paying acting jobs. So you see people being sort of rotated from part to part to part to part because they've already sort of proven to one group that they can bring in an audience, or someone took a chance on them. After that, they've gotten a bit of following. They got a bit more following there because they got a chance. They got a bit more exposure, then a bit more exposure there, and now they got the ball rolling. So now they haven't made it. They still have to do the work every single time, but they've got that momentum going, and they're more likely to be taking up those roles that that would have been available for other people otherwise. And then finally, I've wrote down accents, which is kind of interesting because obviously us Eastern Europeans, we have our own very different accents. And that can be a problem. Why? In this industry, in the UK, you won't see that many characters of Eastern European background. So that means if you can only do the one accent, your own, you're less likely to be seen for other parts. You're less likely to get that exposure. And then you're less likely to work. It's simple as that. I will point out, though, that there is something fascinating and kind of funny in that the British market is more comfortable with Brits playing other nationalities than with other nationalities playing Brits. Again, there's a natural reason for that. since most of these projects are made for British people, they're more likely to notice or be annoyed by a bad British accent than they are going to be annoyed by a bad Eastern European accent. Because let's be honest, we don't all speak like this, people, okay? There's a reason that we got away with Sean Connery playing a Spaniard who talks like this all the time. And there's a reason Dracula Untold features Luke Evans, I believe. I hope I got that name right. Again, doing something a little bit like this. But you don't see Romanian actors playing a Welshman with a bad accent. Doesn't happen. Or another example of this, and this is my favorite one. Peaky Blinders Season 1. Thomas Shelby, who's an Irish traveller, is speaking to another Irish traveller in broken Romanian. Because they're completely different languages and cultures that have nothing to do with each other? Okay. I mean, I think you just managed to piss off two groups of people. So, overall, I think these all sort of add up. And I'm not pointing the finger at one individual. I think they're all sort of work together, unfortunately. But Eastern Europeans and Eastern European actors have sort of fallen through the cracks. I think that's fact of life at this stage. Doesn't mean it's over. And I'm not going to end this video on a pessimistic note, because I've also written down possible solutions. Now, this is why I think at the moment could be wrong. But as I said before, I'm going to share with you my journey, my thoughts as they evolve in real time. So we'll see how I change my mind in the next few years, months, time ahead. Possible solutions that include learning accents. If you're an immigrant in this country, it is advisable to learn some of the local accents as well as you can, as convincingly as you can. If you want to work and if you want to be seen by more and more people, you need to be able to play more and more different characters. Just what it is. Is it tough? Yes. Does it feel unfair at times? You can make the argument. On the one hand, yes, we're not being seen for the same opportunities. On the other hand, I can't shout at people for their biases that they're not aware of. You know? So it's one of those unfortunate things of life that we sort of have to figure out and work around. I wrote down skills, which means we need to diversify our skills. We can't just rely on one source of income, meaning, acting. If you can sing, cool, start singing. If you learn how to dance, editing, directing, anything and everything that's creative. If you can learn how to do it, if you enjoy doing it, do it, because you will find more creatives, you will network more. The more you're seen, the more you work, and the more you work, the more you're seen, and it goes on around in a loop. And then finally, and I think this is my favorite, which is, one, you can wait around in the industry to pick you up, which is, you're fishing for the right part, or we can start fishing with dynamite. Let's blow this baby up. Basically, build an audience, make a noise, make some fuss, get that attention, maintain that attention. Sooner or later, the industry has to notice. If for no other reason, by virtue of the fact that by you having your own audience, you're taking away some of theirs. So, yeah, these are the things I've sort of written down. This is where my head is at the moment. It is a challenge, it is tough, but I think it's absolutely doable. And I'm kind of sort of getting energized. I'm going, yeah, let's go. I like a battle, so we'll see what happens. Have a good day. See you next time.